This YCN segment is brought to you by Mount Sunapee Resort. Fun for all seasons.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide, one final segment. And before we get to our picks, we'll talk some Celtics. We were here last week. They were playing the Mavericks at home, and then they were going on the road for the 3-game road trip. Disappointing ending, 1-2 on the road trip. They lose the opening game to the Spurs, a close game, hard-fought game. Yep. Then they beat the Pistons on Sunday, the second night of the back-to-back. On Monday, they lose to the Bulls. Yeah. Those are the kind of games that are really disappointing. But as we say, it's December. You're going to have bad losses. Right. Just don't make it a habit.
Well, that Spurs loss, Ginobili hit a 3 to go ahead with only a number of seconds left, so that was a big shot. So they lost by one clutch shot, and Kyrie's 3 to tie the game, to send it to overtime, just ribbed out. So, I mean, that game, they were right with the Spurs. I think that could have gone either way. And the game against the Pistons, that was a big win for them because they had lost to them earlier in the season with a bad matchup against a guy like Andre Drummond. And I don't think Drummond really scored at all that game. So that was a big win against the Pistons. But then you go up against the Bulls. Yeah. You expect to win against the Bulls. I think the Bulls maybe have one of the worst records in the NBA.
I think they had 4 wins going into that game.
Yeah, you expect to win that game, but Kyrie wasn't playing in that game. So... And I think when Kyrie doesn't play, that affects Horford. Horford's a much better player when Kyrie's on the floor. So obviously Horford not as good without Kyrie. And so I think a lot of younger guys had to step up in that game, and they just kind of struggled to do that without their leaders playing really well. So that loss is kind of expected. Right. I think we can kind of look past that once Kyrie gets back into the games. But going forward, I mean, those 2 games against the Spurs and the Pistons, I think they played really well in both of those. So I think that's the good you take away from that.
Right. That's a better barometer to look at how they played on the road against good teams rather than a team that really. It's the second night of the back-to-back. It's the last game of the road trip, so there's a lot going on, in that. A lot of time left. We didn't get to talk Jason Tatum, but I got to imagine right now he's probably the favorite for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I would think so. I think he's leading the league in three-point percentage right now, which is crazy. I mean, he's hit a number of clutch shots. He's looked like a player who's played in the league for years. Right. He's really doing really well. He looks super comfortable. That was a great pick by Danny Ainge. What was that, the 3rd pick, I believe it was?
Yeah, they kept the pick, or they traded back.
He's just playing really well. He's a great fit for this team.
Yeah, so obviously we'll see what he can do down the stretch and in the playoffs, but right now, probably a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year for the Celtics and for the NBA.
It's time for the Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week. Salt Hill Pub, honest food, perfect pints, live music, now here to serve you in 5 locations.
Alrighty, here we are with our picks. Before we get to those updated standings, Andrew, you went 3-2 last week. I went 4-1. So overall, you are 20-11. Pretty good season. And over the whole season, I'm 47-23, and the guest is 42-28. So there we go. We got 3 weeks left. It's a pretty close one there. First, with a Saturday game. NFL starts on Saturday after the Thursday night game. Chargers-Chiefs. Who you got there?
Yeah, so I'm going with the Chiefs. They've struggled lately. They got a win last week. Alex Smith, he's been struggling lately. He started off the year really hot, but their running game I think has been going better recently, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Definitely over a team like the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know everyone's thinking the Chargers are kind of coming on hot, but the Chiefs finally got that win. They're playing at home. I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. AFC East battle, Dolphins and Bills. If the Bills lose this game, the Patriots will clinch the division before they play.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the visitors, the Dolphins. I really liked what we saw from them last week. I think Jay Cutler might be able to continue this on. And their defense was really good at getting to Tom last week with guys like Sue. They really were a force, that defensive line, so I'm going with the visitors, Dolphins.
I'm going to take the home team. I'll take the Bills. I wonder if the Dolphins can keep that going or if they'll have that letdown after that big win. That's their Super Bowl. The Bills have something to play for still. They're still in the playoff hunt, so I'm taking the Bills. Battle, as we mentioned earlier in the NFC, Packers welcome Aaron Rodgers back versus the Panthers, who need that win to stay alive in the division. Yeah,
so I'm going with the Panthers. I know Aaron Rodgers will be back, but I don't think it's going to be superstar Aaron Rodgers. Finally coming back after that was a collarbone. Yeah. That injury. Typically, throwing. You gotta ease back into that role. So I'm going with the Panthers. I think Cam Newton's going to lead his team.
I agree with you. Panthers in the middle of the playoff hunt. You're right. That first game back. Maybe the Packers can sneak out the next 2, but not this one. The big battle, maybe the biggest, or the second biggest game of the week, the Rams and Seahawks. If the Rams win, they stay in the lead in the NFC West, probably win the division. If the Seahawks win, they're tied, but they'll have beaten the Rams twice, so they'll own the tiebreaker. So a big one.
Yeah, definitely a big game. I think the Rams have been really good this season, but I'm going with the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson and guys like Pete Carroll, they've just done this for so long. I think they're going to pull out this win because it's a huge one for the team. Typically, they win those big games, so I'm going with the Seahawks.
And this is where that young Rams team may struggle going on the road in a tough environment. It's not a lot of travel, obviously, from L.A. up to Seattle, but I'm taking the Seahawks as well, that crowd getting behind them. And then the big one, 425, Patriots-Steelers. Whoever wins this, most likely going to get the #1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very big, exciting game. I'm going with the Patriots, really just because of what we've seen in the past and how Bill Belichick has handled Mike Tomlin's team. They've shut down Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. They've done a nice job of shutting down their two best players. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think the Pats will pull away in the end.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Patriots there as well. Until Mike Tomlin shows me that he can come up with a game plan to beat the Patriots, I can't go against the Patriots. Coming off a loss, I think they're going to bounce back and get the win and clinch the division, get the #1 seed in the AFC. So there are our Salt Hill picks. Don't forget, you can check out the website, YCNnow.com. We have the standings there, and you can watch the show anytime. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.